finishing up my vegan stuffed cabbage here. So I already started on my cabbage and I peeled off some leaves. Now I've been softening mine in the microwave. What I've done here is I've put my cabbage into a microwave safe dish, added water on the bottom and covered it with cling wrap, and put it on the vegetable setting on my microwave. So you'll have to check and see with your microwave if you don't have presets on how long to cook it, but I find this is easier than boiling the water, and it's less messy. So here I have my vegan stuffing from yesterday. Check out that video. I'll leave a link in the description box below. That's where the recipe to this is. And I've decided that because this is rather loose, I'm going to add a flax egg to it to use as a binder. Now this is 1.5 tablespoons of flax with about 4.5 tablespoons of water that I've been letting sit for about 10 minutes. So this will bind the meat and the rice mixture together. But I'm going to cook this cabbage a little longer because only the outside leaves were done. So I'll be back in a little bit. So I have here one of my softened cabbage leaves. And this cabbage actually doesn't have too much of a ridge here. But you have a choice here. You can either take this out before you wrap, or you can take a little paring knife and just cut it down a little bit, which is what I usually do, so I don't have a big hole there. But normally your cabbage has a little bit more of a rib there than this one does. So I'm still cooking my cabbage, and I'll be back and I'll start wrapping these. Alright, be very careful when removing the wrap because it's very hot. So I'm going to get a few more cabbage leaves here, and then the rest I'm going to make cabbage and noodles out of because I'm not going to make that many stuffed cabbages. I have a 6-quart slow cooker, use your gloves, that I'm going to be using to cook these. Don't get rid of that cabbage water. You can use that. If you can't use it now, you can use it in a soup. You can freeze it because it makes a very tasty soup or broth. So I'll be back when I get all this cabbage peeled off. Okay, so I have all my cabbage leaves. Here I have my filling. Now I'm going to add my flax egg. And then I'm going to mix that up, and then I'm going to start rolling, and that's all there is to it. The hardest part for me, and the part I dislike the most, is actually doing the cabbage. So if any of you guys have an easier way that you know of to soften the cabbage, leave me a comment below and let me know. I would greatly appreciate that. So just mix this up a little bit. I mean, really everything here is already cooked. The cabbage just needs to soften. And then I'm going to put this all together. So I'm going to stuff one of these leaves, and it's really not hard. But adding that little bit of flax egg, and you can add a regular egg or an egg substitute of your choice, will just bind this together a little bit so that it'll stay more in a little roll instead of just falling apart. So, and taste your meat for seasoning. Just make sure you have enough salt and pepper and all that on there, and if you're using a flax egg, You don't have to worry about a raw egg. So I'm going to take one of these leaves and I'm going to trim away some of the excess core here, because that can get stringy and it's not very, very tasty. So then I'm going to take, hopefully you can see that, come a little bit closer. Come a little bit closer, you're my kind of man, so big and so strong. I digress. Back to the cabbage. Okay, so you want to put a good scoop on there. And then we're going to start rolling. And we're going to roll that way. You take the sides, fold them over, and then there is your cabbage roll. All right, now what I'm going to do before I go on, because I'm going to make this in my slow cooker, and I forgot I had this thing. It's another thing that I was looking for my slow cooker, and I'll show you this. Hopefully I can get it over here without pulling everything apart. But it's a Nesco 6-quart. It's actually a roaster, but you can slow cook in it, you can roast in it, you can bake in it, and you can also steam in it. And I totally forgot I had this thing. So let me show you what I'm going to do here. This is a very vicariously set up here, and I'm hoping my phone doesn't fall over. I'll be right back. Oh, here it is. All right, so what I want to do is put a coating of tomato sauce on the bottom of the cooker. So hang on and I'll be right back. All right, I'm just going to take one little 8-ounce can and I'm just going to dump it right into the bottom of the slow cooker. And then I'm going to start putting my rolled up cabbage in there, and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done with that. I got half the cabbage wrapped, and this is what it looks like. So now I'm going to take another can of tomato sauce and pour it over the first layer of cabbages. I like a lot of sauce on my cabbages. Not everybody does, but I do, because I like to actually eat these with mashed potatoes. I think they're delicious that way. So I'm going to put another layer of cabbage on there and some more sauce, and I'll be back. All right, so this makes about 10 cabbages, but they're big cabbages. They're very meaty. I don't like doing the little ones. I like making bigger ones. So I had a couple of extra big cabbage leaves that were really too big. So I just cut those up and stuck them in there. So I'm going to add just a little bit of garlic salt just to the cabbage. The rest of it is very well seasoned, so I don't think I need any more seasoning on there. And then I'm going to add another can of tomato sauce. I'm actually going to add 2 cans. And this is just regular tomato sauce. If you like the flavored tomato sauce, you can use marinara, you can use any sauce that you like. So that's going over the top. And then to top this off, I had this can of Del Monte diced tomatoes with basil, garlic, and oregano. And I like a little bit of texture with my stuffed cabbages. So I'm just going to add that over the top. And there you have it. Now I'm going to cook this on my slow cooker setting. And The slow cook, I think, goes up to 250. So I'm going to put it to that. You can put it on high, and then as it starts to cook, depending on how long you want to cook it, you can turn it down to medium or low, whatever your slow cooker, however it works, you know your slow cooker. So that's it, and this is what it looks like. And it should be good. So my daughter is moving, and they're working on their house. And let me adjust this. And so I want to take these over for them for dinner. I'll keep a couple for myself, but I wanted to make them some dinner. So that's what I'm going to do. And then I have a little bit of cabbage left, a little bit ahead like that. And I'm going to cook some noodles and make some cabbage and noodles. And I think I'm going to use some of this, hang on, since I don't eat bacon, I'm going to use some of this bacon salt. You can get this on Amazon. So I'm going to use a little bit of this on my cabbage and noodles to give it a little bit of that smoky bacon flavor. But, so that'll be the end of my cabbage, except I did a hysterectomy on my cabbage. In yesterday's video, I showed you that my cabbage had babies. So I saved the babies. And I want to stick these in some soil, or maybe I'll root them in water first and see if I can't get some cabbages to grow. If they don't grow, then I'll pretend they're Brussels sprouts and eat them that way. But they've got little tiny ones coming all over the place. So, and these bigger ones. So anyway, that's my cooking for today. And go make it a good day. Have abundant blessings to you. I love you guys. And I will see you next time. Okay, I'm going to make the cabbage. Adjust this camera a little bit. Hang on. Poor planning on my part. Okay, so here is the rest of my cabbage. I chopped up a beautiful sweet onion, and I'm going to make the cabbage part of the cabbage and noodles. So in my pan here, I have, a couple tablespoons, maybe a little less, maybe a tablespoon of olive oil, and a good tablespoon of vegan butter. And I'm going to let that melt. And I'm going to use this salt-free seasoning, some bacon salt, onion powder, Blackstone breakfast blend. I got that at Walmart. And I know this isn't breakfast, but I'm going to use it anyway. Pepper. My mother gave me this pepper mill for Christmas. Oh, God, I'll bet I've had this for 15 years. And it lasts a long time. And some granulated garlic, along with some fresh garlic. And that's what I'm going to make my cabbage part out of. Now I'm going to use some noodles. I'm going to use egg noodles. If you're totally vegan, of course, use whatever noodles you want. And if you're not either vegan or vegetarian, go ahead and use some raw bacon if you want. But my version is going to be the vegetarian version. So what I'm going to do, get a spoon here. So this is heating up a little bit here. I'm going to stir it together. I like the combination of olive oil and butter. I like that taste. So first I'm going to put my onion in, let that cook for a little bit. And these are just big slices of half onions because I want to be able to taste the onion. So I'm going to cook that up. And I'm going to let this cook until it's translucent, and then I'm going to add my garlic. So I'll be back when I'm ready to add my garlic. Okay, my onion is nice and fragrant and it's getting translucent. So I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of garlic. If you don't like garlic, leave it out. If you don't like this much garlic, you just do whatever you like because it's your food. I got this big thing of garlic at Costco, and it's another thing that lasts forever, along with the pepper. And I do like fresh garlic too, but this is so much quicker. Alright, I'm going to give it some good pepper. Fresh ground is best. Okay, that pepper lives back there. Alright, I'm going to give that a little stir. And you can add the pepper anytime. I just thought I would add it now. Now you don't really want these onions to brown too much because we still want to add all this cabbage. So just give that, and I'm cooking here on medium heat. Don't let your garlic get brown because then it's going to taste bitter. So I'm going to start adding the cabbage, get some moisture in here. And this cabbage is really, it's cooked a little bit because it's the cabbage that I did in the microwave for the cabbage rolls. But it's still pretty raw. So I hope my frying pan is big enough. But this will cook down. And I'm going to turn this a little lower because this garlic is starting to brown and I don't want to burn it. So mix it up with your onions so nothing on the bottom gets too brown. Smells really good. I think I need a bigger frying pan. Now it'll be alright. It'll be alright, we'll make it work. I usually have a pretty good eye for spatial things, but I didn't want to drag out a real big frying pan, so I was just being lazy. So I'm going to let that cook down a little bit before I add any more, because I want this to cook pretty well. And in the meantime, I will add the seasonings before it's too hard to stir because the pan's too small. So I have this salt-free seasoning. I think I got it at the Dollar Tree, but I'm not sure. So I like this stuff. Oh, I haven't opened it yet. I use it a lot. I even put it in my bread. I stick it in my bread machine when I make my sourdough bread or any of the other breads that I make, and it gives it a really good flavor. And this doesn't have salt, so you can use quite a bit of it. So I'm going to use about a teaspoon, and it's got kind of chunks in it, so it's kind of hard to get out of the little holes there. So I'm just going to do about a teaspoon. Then I'm going to put some of this bacon salt on. Now this does kind of tend to clump up in here, so I had to kind of mash it up a little bit. But this is salty, so I don't think I'm going to need any other salt. But for now, we'll just put that in, and that's like half a teaspoon maybe. And I'm going to put about a teaspoon of onion powder on. I'm not much of a measure person, so just bear with me. And more garlic powder, and I'll put like a little more than half a teaspoon. If you really, really like it, you can put a whole teaspoon on. And then this breakfast blend, it's salty and it has a little bit of a teeny tiny bit of a kick, not much. So I'm going to put a little of that on, half a teaspoon, not too much because we already have the salty bacon flavor on there. And give that a stir. So this should be pretty flavorful. I don't like bland food, it's not my thing. But if you like a more bland dish, then, you know, leave a lot of this out or use less. When you cook, you really, after a while, you get your own groove going. And you kind of know how the flavors blend. But it does take some experience. And I was lucky because my mom is a wonderful cook. And her mother before her was a wonderful cook. And my mom still cooks all her own food. She, you know, she doesn't get her all these fast foods or prepared foods. She cooks everything from scratch. So she taught me well. And then my great-grandmother, she was actually, I don't know if she was a chef or a cook. I don't know that much about it. But she had a lot of kids. I don't know if it was 8 or, it was a lot. And so she cooked. And my grandmother, she used to sew. She would sew tea cozies and you know, all kinds of things for a company, and then they would sell it. And I still have one of her things that she sewed, and it's actually a little tiny travel bag. So I like that. It's a remembrance of her. Alright, so I'm going to let this cook down. Once it cooks down, I'm going to add the rest of this cabbage. And then I'll give it a taste and see if it needs anything else. So I'll be back. Alrighty, so this has been cooking a while. Cabbage is fairly tender. The onions are done. So I'm going to give this a taste and see if it needs anything else. I don't know if you can hear the leaf blower, but the landscapers are here blowing leaves. I think it could use a tiny bit of garlic salt. Not too much, but you know, you have to do things to your taste. But for my taste, it needs a little more garlic salt. So, that's it. Here's my cabbage. I'm going to cook a big pot of noodles now. Stick the cabbage in there. And call it dinner. See if my daughter wants some. Then I think I'm going to have these 2 vegan sausages. They're Aldi's brand. I forget what their brand name is, but anyway, I'm going to cut those and stick them in here too. A little extra protein. All right, that's it for that. I think everybody knows how to cook noodles, so I'm not going to show you how to do that. I'm just going to cook some egg noodles in some salted water, and that's it. All right, my friends, that's all I have for today, and make it a good day, and I wish you abundant blessings. I love you guys, and I'll see you later.